On the Paper Talk today, we'll be giving you the latest on the takeover bid, what is happening on that front. We'll also be talking about a couple of transfer rumours and a bit of reaction from Eric Ten Hag following the win over Aston Villa. Let's check it out. Jay here from Stretford Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. As you can see, I'm outside Old Trafford and it's a bit dreary. There's a little bit of drizzle, so you might want to wear your parka if you're going out on this bank holiday Monday. Loads of stuff to get through, a couple of transfer stories. There's also the latest on the takeover and a bit of reaction from the result against Aston Villa, the win against Aston Villa. Much needed one, that. I feel like that puts us in a very, very good position for top four. I personally think that's top four settled now. Hopefully I won't be made to eat my words, but a win against them, I think we're looking good for it. So we'll get into all that. Make sure you are hitting like, share and subscribing to the channel if you're not doing already. First of all, just from a bit of reaction from yesterday, Eric Ten Hag commenting on Casemiro. Casemiro and Bruno had a little bit of a discussion. There was a little clip video doing the rounds yesterday. At the final whistle, it looked like Casemiro was sort of pointing out or having a bit of a go, not in a over-the-top way, but having a bit of a discussion with Bruno about some of his passing towards the end of the game. Ten Hag's mentioned that. He said, I think that this is being reported everywhere. Speaking after the game, Ten Hag praised Casemiro and admitted he valued the leadership skills of the Brazilian star. I think that in every season you see nobody is always playing brilliant. He played such a high level. Some games with suspension, his rhythm is broken and he had to get back. I thought Casemiro looked almost back to his best yesterday after he's looked a little bit off it since he's come back from suspensions, but I thought the game against Villa was a return to form. On Sunday it was Casemiro. We've seen all season he brings so much organisation, composure, determination, and his leadership is so important others go with him. So he's right to mention that because Casemiro is a leader. You see it on the pitch. He talks to his teammates, he talks to others. He's always sort of involved in those sort of chats and stuff like that. He is very vocal. You need a bit of that. We've seen him sort of get involved in arguments and fights with opposition. That's why he got a red card, of course, when he had that little tussle with Will Hughes against Crystal Palace, which I thought was a ridiculous red card, by the way. I still can't get over that one. Can't get over either of his red cards, to be honest. I think he's been outdone by Casemiro this season. But great to see him back in the team, playing well and motivating those around him. Now, other stories to talk about. On the transfer front, this is doing the rounds. I've seen it in a couple of papers. I think it started from the Daily Mail. It's also in the Mirror that Man United have a secret weapon in the Bellingham chase. And this is the fact that there's a bloke here called Matt Hargreaves. Now, he works for the club and he has previously worked for Manchester United. He's previously worked for Adidas. When he was at Adidas, one of the clients that he had to look after was Jude Bellingham. So there's talk that maybe that could give him give us a bit of an advantage there in terms of our pursuit of Jude Bellingham. I think it's slightly tenuous to say that. He may well have some sort of influence over Jude Bellingham. He may well have his ear. He may well know him well and be able to chat to him. However, I doubt it. I don't think that that's going to make the decision for Jude Bellingham, the fact that Matt Hargreaves is now working for Manchester United Football Club, having previously worked at Adidas. But, as always, we'll wait and see what's going on there. And who knows? The Bellingham one, I think there's going to be a few more twists and turns. He's been linked with Real Madrid. He's been linked with Manchester City. It looks like Liverpool dropped out of the race. There's also talk of him maybe staying at Dortmund for another year. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. But as always, we'll keep you posted. On the Harry Kane front, says here in the evening news that Harry Kane plans to hold talks with Spurs. Harry Kane has confirmed he plans to hold talks with Tottenham chairman Daniel Levy before the end of the season. As he continues to be linked with a move to United. Then goes on to say the England captain, speaking to Sky Sports, hinted at Fresh Talk, saying, as a club, there's been some stuff going on that if we want to improve, we have to be open and honest about. Those conversations are probably more for towards the end of the season as a leadership group with the chairman and the coach. Spurs obviously losing at Anfield yesterday when it looked like they were going to get a point. Got to 3-3 with like 2 minutes left, well, added time left. It was like 94th minute or whatever it was. And then Lucas Moura with an absolute ridiculous pass played in Diogo Jota, who was lucky to be on the pitch, to be honest with you, and Liverpool get a win. I still feel it's a little bit too late for them to get top four, but it's just annoying, isn't it, seeing the Scousers win. But you have to look at that and you go, look, Spurs aren't going to get top four now. I think that's them done. I think they needed to beat us, to be honest with you, to have any chance of top four. So Does Harry Kane want to stay at a club not in the top four when he's coming into the last few years of his career, perhaps? I can't see it happening, but we'll wait and see what goes on with these talks. Now, for United as well, we've got a backup according to some reports. I think this story emanated from The Sun, hashtag don't buy The Sun. Says here, United tipped to consider Tammy Abraham as a cheaper alternative if they can't land Harry Kane, but Roma reportedly want the 70.5 million fee that Chelsea must pay if they want the England striker back. But Arsenal, United and Chelsea are all said to have monitored Abraham's form this season. 70 million for Tammy Abraham. I think Tammy Abraham's a decent striker. I would have had him a few years ago. Was it 4 or 5 years ago we were linked with him for about 30, 40 million? That seemed like a decent deal. Now I'm not so sure. I don't think he's anywhere near the levels of Harry Kane, and I feel like it would be a bit of a underwhelming acquisition, if I can say this. Now, one other transfer story doing the rounds is the fact that Manchester United could be in for Achraf Hakimi from Paris Saint-Germain. I've seen this in a few papers doing the rounds. I think it's Football Insider who initially reported it. It says that Football Insider claim that there is interest in the Paris Saint-Germain defender as United go in search of a new right-back. It suggested PSG are open to offers for the defender as they consider another rebuild at the end of the season, with United being interested in Hakimi. Now, I think with Hakimi, hasn't he got some sort of accusations hanging over his head? I think there was reports in there that he could be facing... I don't be careful how I word this, could be facing some charges with sex offence allegations. I don't know how sort of concrete that is or what the situation is with that, but that may put United off if there is still something to be dealt with there on that front. But in terms of his playing ability, if that's not an issue, in terms of his playing ability, very talented fullback. Can United get him for PSG? Potentially, if PSG are looking to sell him as part of a rebuild, but they do have money, don't they, PSG? I know you might look at it and go, okay, maybe they want to bring someone else in. But, yeah, it would surprise me if Hakimi came to Manchester United. Although he was linked loosely with us about a year ago. I remember reading a couple of reports. Very, very talented, but we'll have to wait and see because, like I say, there's other issues afoot. On the takeover story, now, we've seen so many different sort of reports recently. There's one in the Mail here. It says that Sir Jim Ratcliffe steals a march in the race to buy Manchester United after valuing the club higher than Sheikh Jassim's $5 billion offer. But Brit's bid will see the Glazer family remain as minor shareholders. Now, there's conflicting reports here. There's some saying that Sir Jim Ratcliffe has done a sort of dual offer, saying like there's a 69% offer where he buys out the Glazers completely, a 50% offer where they can remain as minority shareholders. There's also been reports that Sheikh Jassim is a bit bemused by the idea that his bid doesn't value the club as highly as Sir Jim Ratcliffe. So we'll have to wait and see on this front because there's a few conflicting things going around here, but there are reports that one of the options could be for the Glazers to stay on in some sort of minority stakeholders. Now, that's not what most fans that I've spoken to anyway would want to see. We want to see the Glazers gone. The question is, would they have any control? Would that just be them receiving payments or whatever rather than control? Which is better, but not good enough, in my opinion. I think the Glazers need to be gone. We need to see them bought out and moved on. There was a protest here yesterday. We reported on it last week. It took place before the game. There was a few of us who went in 18 minutes into the game as well. It was packed out. I saw it down the Munich tunnel on the march from Deansgate as well. You saw Andy Tate posting a few vids. He was there front and centre. And like I say, I was there down the Munich tunnel and going in late as well myself. And I saw that there was a lot of people involved, a lot of fans involved. It's good to see the reports on it as well. You know, a lot of the papers were reporting on it, and the message was clear. Full sale only, want the Glazers out. That was organised by 1958. Now, I've seen some people tweeting that this protest was about backing the Qatari bid, and this is all about Sheikh Jassim. As far as I'm aware, it wasn't. It's simply the message from the 58 was full sale only. There might be individuals taking part in that want Sheikh Jassim, and I get that, but my understanding of that is that it was about a full sale only. We want to see the Glazers gone from Manchester United Football Club. Hopefully the sooner the better. Just want to end on one final thing as well. Erik ten Hag has had a lot to deal with this season, and a lot of games. Manchester United, I think, have played, is it around 55 games so far this season? Far more games than I think that's about 15 more than the likes of Newcastle and a lot more than Villa and Tottenham and other teams as well. He's had to cope with all that, plus injuries. We've missed, Eriksen for a chunk of the season, Anthony Martial for about 3/4 of the season, and we're missing our two centre-backs. So you look at what we've had to do, the fact that we have won a trophy, the fact we've got to a cup final, and we're looking in another cup final, and we're looking very strong in the in the hunt for top 4 as well. I mean, it's almost pretty much done, innit? I think you've got to give Erik ten Hag credit for the job he's done this season. And I keep saying this, I'll say it again, it was really disappointing for me that in January we didn't back him in the transfer market. We could see we were fighting on 4 fronts and we should have gone big there, or at least bought some players in that January transfer market. And he had to cut his cloth accordingly and bring in loan moves. Now, I like Wout Weghorst and I like Marcel Sabitzer, 2 players who've had a positive impact on the club, but that shows you what he's had to deal with. The fact he could only make loan signings in January, where other clubs were looking to move on. They went out and bought players, but I think that's testament, or another indictment, I should say, of the Glazer ownership. They just don't go far enough, and we've spent some money in the summer, a lot of it to replace players, but when we've got injuries, when we need reinforcements, when we're fighting on all fronts, we didn't do that in the January transfer window other than loan moves. And Erik ten Hag has done a really good job with the sort of the hand he's been dealt, and I think he sometimes doesn't get the credit he deserves. And if we win, it's a big if, we win that FA Cup final, then build the man a statue. Right, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to be back later on with the Paddock podcast, so make sure you are hitting like, share and subscribe and tuning in for that one. I've been Jay Marty outside Old Trafford, where it's beginning to spit, it's spitting. Get him in. Thanks for watching.